Ideas open.
Okay, the special meeting of the Common Council of November 26, 2024. Common session, please rise. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Belton. Here. Castellucci. Here. Ramsey.
Here.
Eastman. Morris.
Here.
Fernhagen.
Here.
Roberts. Roney. Sauer.
Here.
Volo.
Here.
President DiPietro. One present. Councilmember Volo, can you please state the reason for your attendance virtually?
I am out of town for the holidays.
Thank you.
I need an introduction and second to receive the call of the meeting and place it on file. Gary and Dewan. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have one resolution tonight, and that is approving the budget for the period January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025. Can I have an introduction and a second? Dewan? Margaret? Any comment from the council members?
Yeah, I have
Vicky,
comment.
Vicky,
Oh, I'm sorry, Vicky, I didn't say.
It's fine. I just want to say that it's wonderful to have communications from community members like Mr. Frank and Mr. Rasner. And they spend time and energy to share the thoughts, and we should definitely encourage that. By the way, I did check at the previous meeting if I could speak, and I was okay for this, but anyhow, relevant to that. The budget is high, and I can definitely relate with the stress of taxpayers like myself. And yes, certain things there is room to improve. Overall, I feel that it would be great if we have a plan from the beginning of the year of all the projects we're doing, what is spending, what needs to be done, and discuss it. And then we may, if some of the projects or departments bring too much, stress to taxpayers and they can raise the budget too much, maybe we need to pace ourselves and spread it over a period of time and, have projections. And I think it would be nice to have that at the beginning of the year, see where we're standing. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Margaret?
Yeah, so agree with much of what Vicky has just said. I think some of the ideas that Mr. Rasner brought up in his comments were really interesting in terms of, the process that Vicky is talking about in terms of looking at something a year ahead. I think maybe adopting some of those methodologies might be worthwhile. As you know, I attended, Vicky and I in person, and Dominic virtually attended most of the EA meetings. I am very aware of the amount of work that went into this, particularly by Heather, with projection of revenues, projection of costs and so forth. I know that it was a huge lift to get this work done. However, where we ended up is that we have to take 800 out of the general fund, and we have to increase taxes by 1.5%. So essentially, we ended up with a gap of about $1 million between expenditure and revenue, which tells me that we're not living within our means here. One thing that I have had concern about for some time, I have been trying to work on it for a number of years, is the budget for the youth department. The most recent figures that we got for the youth department showed that 36% of the children in the after-school program do not live in the city of Hudson. And I think given, it doesn't make sense to me that we are paying for services for people from other municipalities. When I have discussed this with the youth department, Friends of Hudson Youth, and with the mayor's office, the most recent comments that I have gotten are that any child in the city of Hudson School District should be able to use the services. fine, then the City of Hudson School District should be paying for those services. And if it is indeed the school district's youth department, that's where the budget should live, not in the City of Hudson. So for all of those reasons, unfortunately, I will not be able to support this budget tonight. I think that we have to, take a step back and say, look, we need to live within our means here. The size of the budget, which you have commented on, Mr. Asman, that's of less concern to me in that there are large projects going on. So they show up both on a revenue line, if there's grant money associated with them, and on a expense line. So to some extent, I think that I went back and looked at some of those numbers. So I think that that's where some of the size growth is coming from. It's on these infrastructure projects that are ongoing. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, any other council members? Dominic?
Thank you. Just like Margaret said, I got the opportunity, and thank you, Tom, for putting that available virtually, to review and be part of that process. I think, to me, I think the budget is an ongoing thing from, January, in terms of information. Right? So that's why, it's very important that we receive these reports on a monthly basis from the department heads. So we know we're ongoing and we're part of asking questions throughout the year. Unfortunately, we haven't got much, and I've been asking for a little bit more input from the senior center, in terms of the reporting. So I think that moving forward, hopefully, next year we're gonna see an uptick on some revenue with the support, hopefully, of the lodging tax, which every little bit helps with the increase of the lodging tax, with hopefully the increase of our part of the dispensary tax, when that number comes in, and also any other new projects that we're going to be able to, to see. I still think somewhere we have to figure out the plan on, figure out how to, get the tickets, the parking tickets revenue back on track, for the outstanding, and I know that's a task. But I also think, with our new parking system, there's going to be some revenue. So I hope there's going to be some promise in our future, to get our revenue up to, a little higher. So we don't have to do that dip into our savings. But I appreciate what the VEA does. I know it's a big ask. But I appreciate it. And that's basically, so I'm hoping for a better 2025 in our revenue side.
Thank you, Dominic. Gary?
Thank you, Tom. Last week, at the meeting, a statement was made that just has been sticking with me, and that is, what does it matter what our house value is if we can't afford to live here? That's an issue. That's an issue for me personally, and it is for a lot of other people. So, it's, I'm not going to try to torpedo or change or fix the budget after the process that's been transparent and has, gone through this. But I think, and also referring to Bob Rasner's benchmarking, we have to cut taxes. And I think we need to begin now for next year, which has been mentioned. And I think that, I like to go big, and if I don't reach it, fine. Can we cut, our budget by 20% in a year's time? I don't know, but, I'd like to try to look at that and try to see what that would look like and what that would take. And that would be a meaningful first step, I think, in looking at the entire process. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Rich.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so we all understand. I understand that this budget, 70–80% of it is set in stone due to unions and things like that. I get it. I have a statement posted on my website, fourthwardhudson.com, as to why I'm opposed to this current budget. My concern, and Gary, that's a great lofty ideal. I appreciate that, to cut taxes. However, down the pike, folks, we see these subsidized housing projects coming on. We do not know how much these additional projects are going to cost the city in terms of resources, in terms of water, sewer, fire, police. Down the line, we're not seeing a decrease in taxes. We're going to see an increase in taxes. So, and I don't see the revenue that's going to be, offsetting it coming through. Yes, I really believe that the county can kick in, and the county, just sold us out on 11 Warren Street. You know what? They could give us some tax money. I think that, not one of our 5 county supervisors voted against 11 Warren Street. And, we're asking them for some money. I think the county should, pony up. So like I said, I have a statement which I'm posting on my fourthwardhudson.com. I also believe that we have to stop giving tax breaks to millionaires and multimillionaires. No more. It has to end. So there you go.
Thank you. Margaret, yeah.
Yeah, there was something I also wanted to mention with regard to the budget. I was very disappointed that I was reminded of it by the expansion that Rich is talking about. I was very disappointed that the police department additional positions were not able to be funded. I think right now I believe there are 22 police officers, and there is a certain minimum that you need when you look at 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you're looking at it as 8-hour shifts, that's 21 shifts in a week, which is 4.2 FTEs just to have one person per shift. So there's a certain minimum that you need to have just to run the police department. And I don't think that they're overstaffed. I think they're actually down to skeletal crew here at the moment. One of the 22 is, I believe, in the academy. And I think somebody else is out for some reason, but they have no room to spare in their staffing. And I was very disappointed to see that we were not able to fund those positions.
Anyone else on the council? Let me address a couple of these comments. First of all, Margaret, the fund balance, if you read the document issued by the Comptroller's Department, our fund balance is very healthy. It can sustain this amount of money that we decided to take out of it this year, and it's still healthy after that money is taken out. Now, granted, through the year, to speak to Gary's point, we need to be watching what we take out of the fund balance, the general fund. There's not a lot of room there. But we do have more than what the controller recommends you need in your fund balance. It's not a percentage, it's whether you can cover your 2 months cost. So the fund balance issue is really not that pressing, although it could be. Although there are a number, to speak to Dominic's point, he is correct. There will be, on Friday, the governor signed our approval to increase our lodging tax by 1%. So that will represent some important new revenue, as will, as Dominic pointed out, the cannabis tax. Rich, I think has some good points, but I think he's mistaken in how housing projects will affect us in any way.
Well,
we're not spending any money.
The thing is, Tom, we don't know.
Sure.
So I'm
saying, Rich.
Go ahead.
Come here. I haven't even finished. Housing projects do not cost the city that much money. In fact, we have infrastructure, and I mean, depends on what you mean by infrastructure. The school system will actually be able to more than absorb any new children that come into the system, because they're overstaffed and have do not have as many students as they've had in the past. So in terms of the infrastructure, that's not really something we need to really worry about. Although I do agree with you, we have to watch these projects for any incidental costs they may have. Okay, having said all that, I think it's time for us to vote.
I think Rich had a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
We also, there's also $2.5 million of unpaid property taxes that the city is not going after as well. So we,
City is, I mean, it's,
He's talking now.
yeah, but no, I can't correct misinformation. And it's, the city is trying to go after it. It's Heather's, the ball is in Heather's court right
But,
Okay.
Yeah.
So but even going after the taxes, that's not revenue, right?
Correct.
That's not new revenue.
now. Right,
That's just
Thank you,
cash
Dominic.
on hand.
right.
So,
It's not good.
right, still, the only revenue would be anything extra, that's added on from penalties and fines.
Right.
And this year we also have the sidewalks and the parking new system, which adds up, this is.
The department, if you recall, we put money aside. That was the whole point.
Yeah,
Put money aside for that project. It's not gonna cost.
Okay. But still coming from us, I mean,
And it should be.
indirectly.
And it should bring more revenue.
Well, that is fantastic. I mean, the parking is money to come.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
I think Rich was not finished what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Rich.
okay, Tom, as per the last finance meeting, maybe it's changed, but there wasn't an attorney appointed to go after the back taxes.
Okay. There was
No attorney.
no attorney.
I think Heather was gonna look into it. I
Heather.
think she said she was gonna make the
Right.
call or something. Remember?
And Heather has her hand up.
Oh, okay, I can't.
Okay.
Heather?
Hi, yes. I mean, I've spoken to the mayor and to our city attorney multiple times about this. I do not have the authority to engage an attorney. Only the mayor's office does. I know that Andy Howard has been looking at it. I will tell you, in the time that I have been here, it has been very difficult to find an attorney that's willing to work through the foreclosure process, particularly here in the city of Hudson, because I think back before all of our times, there were a few errors that were made, and it at that point apparently became very difficult to find an attorney willing to take on the foreclosure process. So I will continue to reach out to the mayor, and I will continue to reach out to the city attorney. But, basically, I can put a list together. I can put it in front of the council for you to approve taking action. But until there is an attorney identified and hired, which again is not under my, auspice, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to move forward. So if
Right.
any
I
of you,
understand.
seriously, if any of you know any attorneys that enjoy working in the New York State foreclosure process, please give a recommendation
Okay.
to our city attorney.
Thank you, Heather. I wasn't trying to put the blame on you, but as you just acknowledged, you haven't filed that list yet. So that is the first stage. Any other council members?
I'm gonna look into it.
Okay, let's vote.
Councilmember Felton. Aye. Desaludi.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Nissan.
Aye.
Morris.
No,
Fernhagen.
Aye.
Sauer. Volo.
No,
Presley Pietro.
Ronnie is now online.
Oh, Ronnie's on there? Oh, okay. Sorry. Didn't see you there, Ronnie.
Councilmember Ronnie.
We can't hear you. You're muted.
No audio, Ronnie.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm traveling for the holidays. That's why I was not able to make it in person. For the record, and I vote aye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Dewan, you have the honors.
Motion to adjourn.
Second? Gary, I think that was him first. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
well,
Thank you, Dominic. Okay. We can go.
So the chief has been